What if the habits that feel harmless today are the very ones leading you straight to poverty? To escape this fate, you must first recognize the hidden dangers, because understanding the traps is the first step to avoiding them. Grant Cardone has been there, and his story is proof that even the worst financial mistakes can be turned around. In today's video, we'll expose the fastest ways to go broke, with Grant's hard-earned wisdom showing you exactly what to avoid. These aren't just mistakes, they're financial landmines. Stick around because escaping these traps could change your life. Money problems don't just happen overnight. They're often the result of small, repeated mistakes that pile up over time. Did you know that over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? That means millions are just one emergency away from financial disaster. By understanding the habits that lead to poverty, you can stop sabotaging yourself and start building real wealth. 1. Financially impulsive decisions. Grant Cardone often says, "Discipline is the bridge between you and your wealth goals." And yet, too many people fall into the trap of spending without thinking. Imagine you're scrolling through your phone, and an ad for the latest gadget pops up. Without a second thought, you click buy now. That instant gratification feels great until the credit card bill arrives. Impulse purchases drain your finances and create a cycle of regret. The more you spend without a plan, the harder it becomes to save or invest. It's not about denying yourself the things you enjoy. You work hard for your money, and you should make it count. But often, we spend without considering whether we can truly afford it. One strategy that worked for me is saving double the cost of the item I want before buying it. For example, if I wanted a $500 gadget, I'd challenge myself to save $1,000 first. Many times, after doing the work to save that extra money, I'd realize the item wasn't as important to me as I thought. Instead, I keep saving and use that money for something more meaningful, like a family vacation during the holidays. This method helps prioritize what really matters while preventing impulse spending. Of course, this strategy works best for smaller purchases, like electronics or gadgets. When it comes to bigger expenses like buying a car, this technique might not directly apply. But it's even more critical to carefully evaluate whether a major purchase aligns with your current financial situation and future goals before committing. Number 2, underestimating small, costly habits. Every dollar you waste is a dollar you'll never see again, Cardone says. Picture this. An average American earning $45,000 a year spends $6,000 annually on convenience items like takeout meals, coffee runs, and impulse purchases. Over 5 years, that's $30,000 gone. Money that could have been a solid emergency fund, a down payment on a house, or the start of a retirement account. Instead, this money disappears into habits that bring momentary joy but delay financial security. Imagine what you could achieve with an extra $30,000 working for you. 3. Developing destructive habits. According to the National Council on Problem Gambling, Americans lose over $100 billion annually on gambling alone. Imagine redirecting even a fraction of that money into investments or savings instead of letting it disappear into destructive habits. Gambling $200 every weekend adds up to over $10,000 a year. Personally, I think spending your money on gambling is one of the most foolish things you can do. The odds are stacked so heavily against you that it's often said you have a better chance of a millionaire walking up to you on the street and handing you money than you do of winning big. That's $10,000 a year that could have been invested or saved for a brighter future instead of being wasted on nearly impossible odds. Number 4, lack of financial education. Cardone emphasizes, if you don't understand money, you'll never control it. Many people make poor financial decisions simply because they don't know better. Take buying a home, for example. It's often seen as a financial milestone, but for some, it becomes a financial burden instead of an asset. Imagine taking out a mortgage for a home you can barely afford. You're now house poor, with no extra money for investments, emergencies, or even day-to-day expenses. Plan your subsequent expenses carefully. Ideally, write everything down and have a clear picture of how your finances will look, accounting for possible unexpected problems that could arise. This foresight can help you navigate financial challenges and avoid falling deeper into hardship. Number 5, relying too much on credit. Credit often feels like a safety net, but it can quickly become a financial quicksand. Cardone puts it bluntly, debt is a tool, not a crutch. Use it wrong, and it will bury you alive. High-interest credit cards are one of the worst offenders. They take what starts as a small convenience and transform it into a never-ending cycle of payments that crush your finances. Imagine charging a $500 purchase and paying only the minimum each month. You could end up spending over $1,000 by the time it's paid off. The result? A slow, painful financial spiral that keeps you from ever getting ahead. Aim to pay off balances as soon as possible and carefully evaluate whether your current financial situation can support additional credit usage. This approach helps you maintain financial stability while still benefiting from credit when it makes sense. 6. Failing to plan for the future. Grant Cardone says, if you don't have a plan for your money, someone else does. Many people live paycheck to paycheck with no savings or investments, leaving them vulnerable to financial emergencies. Imagine losing your job tomorrow. Without an emergency fund, you're forced to rely on credit cards or loans, sinking deeper into debt. Start small. Build an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of expenses. Then, set long-term goals like saving for retirement or investing in real estate. 7. Living beyond your means. If you're spending everything you earn, you're already broke. Cardone says bluntly. Lifestyle inflation, spending more as you earn more, is a common trap. Just because your income increases doesn't mean your expenses should. A person earning $50,000 a year but spending $55,000 is in worse shape than someone earning $40,000 and saving $5,000 annually. Number 8. Excessive spending on gifts and luxuries. Cardone criticizes the culture of spending to impress others. If you're buying things for others to like you, you've already lost. We understand you want to show your gratitude and impress the people you care about with thoughtful gifts. But overspending on holidays, birthdays, or luxury items can quickly spiral into serious financial strain. Set a realistic budget for gifts and luxuries. Focus on thoughtful gestures rather than expensive items. I'm confident that the people who truly care about you will appreciate any act of kindness, even if it's just a heartfelt card. It's the thought and effort that matter most, not the price tag. 9. Fear of missing out. Cardone frequently talks about the dangers of chasing trends. You don't need what everyone else has. You need what works for you. FOMO often leads to rash financial decisions, like overspending on social events or investing in speculative assets. Don't buy the latest cryptocurrency just because it's trending. The market can crash, and you could lose everything in an instant. Focus on your financial goals instead. Stop comparing yourself to others and making choices based on peer pressure. It rarely leads to smart financial decisions. Number 10. Falling for get-rich-quick schemes. Cardone warns, there's no such thing as easy money. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. These schemes often leave people worse off than when they started. Investing in a pyramid scheme or fake stock tips can wipe out your savings in an instant. Be skeptical. Do your research and stick to proven wealth-building strategies like real estate or starting a business. As Grant Cardone teaches, financial success isn't accidental. It's the result of discipline, education, and long-term planning. Avoiding these pitfalls can mean the difference between building wealth and falling into poverty. So, which of these habits are holding you back? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. What's the one financial habit you're committing to change starting today?